This is a largemouth bass, an apex predator at the very top of the food chain. I'm currently raising one to become a true trophy fish. But to get there, he's going to need a lot of food. And here's the catch. He only eats live fish. So in today's video, we're taking on a massive challenge. We are going to catch 100 fish to feed our predator. But to make this even tougher, we've added one rule. We need to catch at least 7 different species. By the end, we'll find out if we can really pull this off, and whether our bass has what it takes to become a true monster. Before we get into any of our challenges, we have to do something very important. In the first video, when I introduced the bass, I asked you guys to name our new predator, and the top comment with over 700 likes was Billy. So let me officially introduce our largemouth bass, Billy. Now that our largemouth bass has a name, let's kick off with our first challenge, feeder guppies. This is my feeder guppy setup. In this tank are hundreds of little guys swimming around. These guys mostly spend their time in the tank, traveling around and eating. When I first got this tank, I only had one female and one male. But these guys take no effort at all to breed. Each female holds about 30 babies at a time. And by just throwing in a mix of pellets, these fish started thriving. Having a tank of breeding fish makes it easy to own a largemouth bass. And after months of them breeding, the tank is now swarming with them. These guys are the perfect size for Billy to snack on and to kick off the challenge. I placed a container full of guppies against Billy's tank and he instantly was intrigued, staring into the container and all the guppies. Billy swam towards them for a closer look. Once he saw all these guppies up close, he began eagerly snapping at them. His eyes locked in and he knew feeding time was right around the corner. I grabbed the guppy with my tongs and held it at the surface of the water. At first he seemed hesitant to eat, so I submerged the guppy in the water and Billy devoured it. But this was just a little appetizer because after that, I released a bunch of guppies at once into the tank. Billy's predator instincts kicked in and he went after the guppies. One by one he chased them down as they swam away from danger. In just 3 seconds, Billy downed 5 guppies, and there were plenty more left in the tank. He darted all across his enclosure, scanning and searching for more food. Billy even snatched a couple of the guppies swimming at the surface of the water. With swift and accurate precision, he ate all of the guppies. Or so I thought, because after this frenzy, there was just one guppy left in the tank. But this poor little guy stood no chance against our tank beast. And with that, we have completed our first challenge. So far, Billy has consumed 30 out of 100 fish. And if we check out the species counter, he has eaten 1 out of 7 species. We are going to need a lot more fish. So it's time for the next method of catching fish, using a fish trap. The plan is simple. We will set up 2 traps with 2 different types of food and get as many fish as possible while seeing which bait is better. Using 2 different baits will give us our best chance at catching a bunch of fish. It was a beautiful day outside. The sun is out, the ducks are waddling around, and this spot is looking great to catch some food for our favorite bass. We have our trap and some hot dogs. I set up the trap, cut up enough hot dogs for fish to enjoy, and this bad boy was ready for the water. I made sure to fill up the trap with enough hot dogs because we have no idea how many fish this trap could lure in. Before the trap hits the water, comment down below what you guys use for bait and I'll try it out in my next video. I tossed the trap into the lake and left it for some time. After the trap settled, some fish decided to swim right by. Our traps might be attracting big fish. The fish needed some time to get into the trap, so I decided to explore around the lake. I was looking around when I heard a loud noise to my left. Ripples ran across the water. It seems like something big took a bite along the surface. I decided to grab my mini net and try catching some tiny fish along the shore. After a couple scoops, I was only able to catch 1 tiny fish. Maybe we won't have too much luck after all. Some time had passed by, so I grabbed a bucket and headed back to the trap. Let's see just how many fish we caught in the trap. But before we check the trap, do me a quick favor and hit that subscribe button. It really helps support the channel and lets me keep caring for all the animals we have here. Your support truly means the world. I pulled it out of the water and gave it a closer look. By the looks of it, there's not many fish in the trap. I released the net into the bucket and to my surprise, there was only 1 lone fish that we caught. This is surprising because it seemed like the lake was lively with fish of many sizes. I'm not sure why this happened, because I was baiting the fish with the hot dogs and there seemed to be plenty of fish. Remember, to complete this challenge, we can only catch these fish with our traps, so grabbing them with the net will be cheating. Despite the setback, we still had a mission and another trap. I was not going to let this set us behind. Now, all the weight is relying on the second trap. I went to our second location and this time with a different strategy. I set up our second trap and brought out our second food source, bread. As soon as I did this, a whole family of ducks came by. It was so funny to see them watching me put the bread in the trap. They definitely wanted a piece. Trap number 2 is ready to go, and I wasted no time throwing it in. And this time we had great signs early on. Within minutes, the trap was surrounded by tiny fish. While I was waiting for the trap to be filled with fish, I had some leftover bread and tried to see if I could feed the ducks. But as I got closer, they just turned away. So I resorted to breaking up the slices into little pieces, and the ducks came running over to get a bite. After having some fun with the ducks, I started to get our bucket ready with some water. Finally, it was time to pull in our trap and see if we're going to walk out of here with some fish. As I pulled the trap out of the water, I could see that it was flooded with fish. I think we made up for not having any fish in the first trap. Bread looks to be an effective method at trapping bait fish. I wasted no time and got them all into the bucket, and then got out our accessories to keep our bait fish alive. Once I got back to the lab, it was time to get a closer look at the fish we caught to see how many species we got. First, I tried to identify the single fish we caught on the first trap, but I don't think this is going to be able to be identified because it looks to be some type of hybrid. Some species like sunfish or cichlids can crossbreed when they share the same environment and spawning grounds. That's when you start getting these weird mixes. Since we found another species, that marks 2 out of the 7 species. Even though we can't identify it, it's still a new fish for our species counter. This little guy was just an appetizer for our bass. Now, let's move our bucket full of fish into our quarantine tank. One trap filled the tank full of fish, but the water is a bit too murky to get a closer view on the fish we caught. So, I popped on my viewing container and scooped a fish inside to identify the different species. This appears to be a mosquito fish. These guys are super common in shallow ponds and ditches, and I think they are the perfect size for a bass. So, if he really does love these, maybe I'll start a whole new breeding project with mosquito fish. I loaded up the container with more mosquito fish and popped it against Billy's tank to get his reaction. Instantly, Billy was active looking inside the container at his next meal. I could tell he was more than interested. Whether it was curiosity or hunger, I'm not sure. But there's one thing for sure. These mosquito fish definitely got his attention. Before we give him a lot, let's see how he reacts to one. Well, I guess that means he likes them. So I grabbed the whole container and poured it straight into the tank. Before some of the fish even knew what was happening, Billy devoured them. After snatching 6 mosquito fish, our predator was still chewing on his food. But that did not stop him from going after another, except he only bit it rather than swallowing it. This guy did not stop until the tank was cleared of fish. Billy stopped for breaks, giving himself some time for his food to settle. It may look like he is chewing here, but he could be doing multiple things. Those jaw movements help realign the prey so it goes down smooth. He could also be clearing out small bits of scales or debris from his gills. And just like that, the frenzy resumed, and Billy gulped down some more fish. One even managed to escape and hide in the back of the tank. He hid against the rocks, but he would not be safe for long. It is a bad day to be these mosquito fish. Billy wiped out all these little guys with no effort. It was time for a bass to move on to some bigger mine cichlids. These guys would be the largest fish that I've ever fed Billy, but that did not intimidate him because he was staring down his prey through the glass. Before giving Billy the big cichlid, I put him to the test to see just how much our predator can handle. I dropped it in the tank and Billy wasted no time going after it. These cichlids' fight or flight instincts kicked in, and he knew with Billy there was no fighting. It found a safe spot at the bottom of the tank, and it seems like it is safe for now. Billy searched the tank for his next meal, but could not find it. I waited some time to see if it would come out, but the cichlid knew better. This fish would not be leaving his safe space anytime soon. That's when I scooped up another mine cichlid, and I had him come face to face with our tank monster. Billy took a bite out of him, but the cichlid was tougher than he appears. When he tried to take another bite, the cichlid snuck behind the filter. Billy persistently went after the little fish, but each time it got away. This might just be his biggest challenge yet. This time, he chased him, but for some reason, Billy turned away. He seemed hesitant to commit to swallowing it, and just when the bass was not looking, the cichlid hid away under the filter. Both these guys are pretty smart, hiding in tiny crevices that Billy can't get into. But that's when I realized something. I just fed my bass over 35 mosquito fish, and now I was expecting him to take down his biggest fish yet. The way he went after them shows he is interested, but Billy is just way too full right now. So let's leave the fish overnight and see what Billy does. I came into the lab the next day to see if Billy found the cichlids. Searching every corner of the tank, there was no sign of either of the cichlids. Checking all the hiding spots. Then, that's when I noticed something. Billy looked a bit different. His belly looked to be pretty full. It looks like Billy was able to hunt them down during the night. I think it's safe to say our predator has taken down another species and gotten one step closer to 100 fish. So, up to this point, our bass has consumed 68 fish and conquered 4 different species. We still have 3 more species left to reach our goal of 7 different species. So, let's head to the bait shop where they have a new species of fish we have never fed Billy. These are shiners. Bass love these guys. Shiners are basically a steak dinner in the bass world. I got back to the lab with a bucket full of shiners. They're one of the best baits to catch a bass because they're protein rich and oily. And of course, they have that shine. As I was acclimating the shiners to get them into a holding tank, I noticed one of them was not doing too good. These guys aren't sold as pets, so they're not housed to be kept long term, which got me thinking, what would happen if I built them a tank and kept them as my pet? Comment below if you guys think that's a good idea, because I would love to see that shine in an aquarium. But today, our bass needs a protein-rich meal, and these guys are exactly what Billy needs. Billy still needs to eat 32 fish to complete the challenge, and in our shiner tank, we have a total of 24 shiners. So, over the next couple days, we have more than enough fish to complete the challenge. But the question is, can Billy even take one down? I didn't waste any time finding out. I dipped the shiner in and tried to get our bass's attention. It wasn't until I submerged more of the shiner when Billy snapped at it, and just moments later, he snapped again. He seemed interested, but for some reason did not want to eat from my hand. So I dropped this little guy in and let him finally enjoy his meal. This shiner was huge. Its tail was still sticking out of Billy's mouth as he was devouring it. It was really cool to see our bass in action. But that was just the beginning of his shiner buffet. Seeing how Billy took down the first one, I was curious how he would do with one of these live ones. Within seconds of dropping in Billy's first live shiner, our bass showed why he's an apex predator, and the second one was no different, as our largemouth bass gulped it down. And that's when something amazing happened. With one big burp, all those shiny scales burst out. So far, we have fed Billy 92 fish via our feeder guppy farm, bait shop fish, and with fish traps. This leaves us with 8 fish to feed our bass. But there is only one way to catch a bunch of different species quickly. Time to shift to our next method of catching fish, using rod and reel. I went over to this local fishing spot and scanned the water. The footage speaks for itself. This place is swarming with fish. With how lively the water looked, I wasted no time preparing my rod. While checking my tackle box, I found these tiny hooks. This is the perfect size hook to catch Billy some small fish. And with this loaf of bread, we are bound to get some crazy bites. I cast it out along the bank, and within minutes, we got our first catch of the day. This guy is a type of tilapia. They're actually invasive in this local ecosystem. I dropped our tilapia in the bucket and cast it out again to catch some more. While waiting for our next bite, I noticed something. Swimming along with the other fish was this bright orange fish. This little guy looks amazing with his bright colors. If we end up catching this guy, there's no way I would feed him to Billy. It would be awesome if we can catch him and raise him in the lab. I casted right by him and attempted to reel him in. And just like that, another fish is caught on rod and reel. These fish must love the bread, because with no effort, I started catching more and more fish. We mostly caught mine cichlids and tilapia, but after a couple bites, we got ourselves a beautiful bluegill. I got in a rhythm catching the same group of species that we have already unlocked, quickly filling up our bucket, getting closer to our goal of 100 fish. But then I noticed something different about one of the fish we caught. It resembled a mine cichlid, but actually appears to be a new species. If we take a closer look, we can see this guy has features of both a jewel cichlid and mine cichlid. This is a mine cichlid, and this is a jewel cichlid. Mine cichlids are easily identified by the spot, where jewel cichlids are covered with bright, iridescent speckles. If we look back at the fish we caught, it has characteristics of both of them, possibly making this a hybrid. I went online to do some more research about my theory. I found that in my local ecosystem, there's a huge issue with released aquarium fish. Some people don't know what to do with their unwanted fish, and that's how they end up in my local pond. These guys naturally would not breed together, but in the right environment, they could create a hybrid. This little guy might be a one-of-a-kind unique fish. After seeing the photos of all these jewel cichlids, it makes me want to buy a tank and make an enclosure for these guys. I cast it out a few more times because I still want to catch that beautiful orange fish. It was still lurking around, but the next bite wasn't what I hoped for. I felt a tug and reeled it in. This guy is a mine cichlid and might be the biggest one we've caught today. So on this fishing trip so far, we've caught a bluegill, tilapia, mine cichlid, and our mystery fish. This puts us at a total of 8 different species. We have officially completed 1 out of 2 challenges, but we have not completed the whole mission. Before we get ahead of ourselves, we still have one potential issue. How will Billy handle all these fish we've caught? I cast it out a few more times, and that's when I felt tiny raindrops falling. That was nature's way of telling us to head to the lab. We may have caught more than 7 species, but I think some of the fish are just way too big for our growing predator. So I threw in the remaining 8 fish from my guppy farm, and with that, Billy has officially completed his 100 fish challenge. If you want to see us feed Billy the other species and much more, follow my Snapchat, Instagram, and second channel for more content. In Billy's next update video, I will show you how he handles some bigger fish once he's big enough. So until then, subscribe so you don't miss him take down some new species. Thanks for watching and peace.